Frequently asked questions. What is the Elite Bundle Resurrections? The Elite Bundle Resurrections include Elite 30, a 5-hour, 30-day challenge course for social skills and social calibrations training. Elite Playbook, a 15-hour game tactics guide to take women from open to pole, including dating. Elite Tonality Mastery, a 21-day challenge, and a 10 to 15-hour deluxe course teaching the secret techniques to fix tonality issues caused by stress, inflation, and tariffs that leads to auto rejection. Elite Access, 10 minutes of consultation a day. Rehearse drills, quick analysis. It only takes me like 10 seconds to analyze people's infields, and short infields per day. Quick analysis of drills and short infields per day. 10 Skype sessions. Even if Skype is now turned off, we can still list all the Skypes left on the actual Microsoft Teams. And then I can still Skype with you over WhatsApp. 10 Skype sessions, 1 hour personalized coaching calls. Daygame Motivation Album, exclusive for the first 10 buyers. Why is your coaching different than other dating coaches? I focus on long-term consistency over short-term intensity. Unlike other coaches who pushes memorized tactics or boot camps that burns you out, my system uses consistent drills to rebuild your neural pathways. This ensures that you can adapt in the field like a trained soldier, instead of relying on zombie-like mass approaching tactics that fails in today's economy. In 2025, many people struggle with a working memory due to the winner and loser effect. The more you lose financially, the more cortisol builds up, causing weight gain, hair loss, double chin, and poor memory. My coaching addresses this by having students record their mistakes in the video addressed to themselves. I pin it on WhatsApp. They have to listen to it 40 times in a row before they get started. This repetition reinforces the correct habits, helping them adapt quickly and pass their homework assignment for drills in one attempt, because it forces the memory into their brain and they cannot fail if they want it to, because they know exactly what needs to be fixed. Without this process, the cortisol's destructive impact on memory will cause them to forget what they have learned by the next day. What is aeroscience? My students uses the aeroscience for the 3-point arrow tip. So the first step is maneuvering and pulling women home. The second one is sexualizing it to the maximum in the bedroom. And the third one is the objections looping of the sexual objections only. You don't deal with logistical objections by seeding the pole, whatever that means. And also is backfill with flirts when she talks more. You flirt more. You only tease her when she's off the line. It's that simple. But of course, that takes a bit of training to recognize this and to do it properly. And to build the arrow body, to make it longer, it's good to have the arrow tip. It is social skills to build the arrow, social calibrations, emotional control on top of the triangular arrow. So to make it fly better for the feather, it is also the V-shaped body in the whitewash husband material fashion. So that's what makes it fly, because you also need a feather at the end of the arrow. To aim without it shaking, it is important that you are not broke and in survival mode, stressing you out. So budgeting and taking supplements to reduce cortisol is a must this year. Just like the Maslow chart of human needs, you never want to be in the physiological needs, especially when you're in survival mode. You currently have 661 latent poll testimonials for a Daygame, John. Are they all real? How do you count it? Okay, every single lay testimonial is all verified through the screenshots, the lay pictures and videos. Unlike other white coaches, I don't just inflate the numbers with unverifiable claims like a positive YouTube comment that has a vague review or saying that the coach is legit or they got over a red pill. Those are not testimonials or Tinder stuff. That's not pickup. That's not a testimonial. That's a body count, not a lay count. This is all about real results. I don't count Tinder as a lay. If you're swiping with AI images in the background or you change your face to AI to make it better, that's not picking up. Even women can just show up on Tinder and they can get laid 100 times in 2 months. That means 2 lays in 1 day. That would be 60 times 2. That's 120 lays. So is that a lay count? If a woman wants to have sex twice a day, if she's narcissistic, she could do it easily. Also, on Tinder, other assistants can swipe for you and get phone numbers and forward it to you on WhatsApp to collect the lay. Does this really count when there's multiple assistants swiping for you? And then what they're doing is like saying on Tinder, what are you looking for on here? They say relationship, a quick bang, whatever. And they just have to say, I'm looking for the same thing. And then they get the phone number right away and send it to the coach. How is that a lay count? That's a body count. And now they're using AI images. Other Asian dating coaches have never achieved a same-day lay for their infield, from open to sex for Daygame. They rely on optics, the halo effect, because they're muscular, tall, strong, or handsome compared to me. So you assume they must be good. They are only pulling women home without proof of actual lays, or standing next to women posing as a club promoter in third world countries. They rarely post lay testimonials for Daygame. They only have 1 in the last few years of the inflation, or 2 at most, and mostly 0. None of it is AI videos for my students or actors for my testimonials. I have posted video testimonials since 2016 when I was first online. I started coaching in Vancouver since 2012, before the age of AI. I also interview the students occasionally on YouTube Live, and they talk the same. They sound kind of autistic. So that verifies their other classmates in the inner circle. I have a track record, and other dating coaches are super jealous because they can't get students laid like I do. What is the first principles of Daygame? The 20 out of 35 system. The 20 out of 35 system is the benchmark for success in Daygame. It evaluates key traits out of a total of 35 points. Looks is 10 points. Money is 5 points. Status is 10 points. Social skills is 2.5 points. Social calibrations, 2.5 points for the body language and facial expressions. Emotional control, which is also facial expressions and your tonality, is 2.5 points, and game is 2.5 points. To succeed in Daygame, you need to score 20 or higher. Just 20 points is the line of fuckability. Women's evolutionary psychology and subconscious brain calculates your score almost instantly. Once you cross that 20-point threshold, the lock opens and her legs open and she bangs you. So her attraction is triggered. It doesn't matter how the points are distributed, whether it's your looks, status, ethnicity, status maxing, tonality for emotions, or social skills. As long as you hit 20 points or higher, you get laid. Attraction isn't a choice. Somebody asked me, that is attraction based on individual preferences? And the answer is no. It's a subconscious system hardwired into her evolutionary psychology. That's why my students achieve a wide range of outcomes, from same-day lays to casual hookups to building relationships, getting fuck buddies, girlfriends, even multiple girlfriends, even threesome, foursome, fivesomes. Many have even gone on to get married, and they have started families. The key is to compensate for weaker areas and leverage your strengths to cross the line of fuckability and unlock success in Daygame. Attraction is not a choice. These things are universal in every culture, every part of the world. What if I think it's all about looks or black pill ideology, John? Let me answer that question for you. So the 20 out of 35 system proves that looks alone are not enough. The 20 out of 35 system shows that relying solely on looks won't guarantee consistent success. Let's break this down. Even if you had a 9 out of 10 looks, and let's say you got plastic surgery and you have a 10 out of 10 perceived natural status by being white, or you look white, that gives you 19 points, does it not? You might ask, John, that's almost 20 points. But wait a minute. But here's the thing, and why it falls apart. Because social skills, let's say, for example, even if you're black, let's say it's 0. If you can't use a proper social skills flow drill and you try to use statements, you get a short answer. Then you ask a question, you get a short answer. Then you make another statement, you get a short answer because you have a one-track mind. You cannot use multiple steps. You will lose points. That'll be 0. And let's say you try to square off and you have a poor body language and your tonality adds stress, but it's barely giving you 1 point. But let's say you try to square off the best as you can. You still get 1 point. Emotional control. Here's the problem for black pill is minus 2.5 points. This is the only category that can go into the negative. Stress or nervousness caused by financial troubles like the Donald Trump tariffs. During the last 5-day challenge, he paused it. Now it's in effect and people are losing their minds. You get testosterone for winning. And you also get cortisol for losing or being broke. That will show up in your voice. You'll start to sigh at the end of the sentence when you talk, and you'll sound like very depressed. And you breathe out when you talk. That leaks 2.5 points. That's minus 2.5 because of the tariff and the winner and loser effect. The final math is that when you minus that 2.5 points and your game is not that good, all you can get is 17.5 points for black pill, even if you have a 9 out of 10 in looks and 10 out of 10 for race. It's below the 20-point threshold needed to get laid. And if this is a white person and they get a 10 out of 10 perceived natural status, imagine all the short minority ethnics. They have 1 or 2 points at most if they're whitewashed. They might have 4 points for Indians, 2 points if they're not. That's 10 points. If that barely gets over the line and doesn't get over the line, what happens if you're ethnic? You have no choice but to maximize the skills, and if you don't fix the emotional category, is minus 2.5 without elite tonality mastery for elite bundle resurrections. You have no chance. Does your game work objectively with ugly students? Yeah. I'll show you the ugliest student and what he banged, okay? So the ugliest student, right? Don't share this to anyone, but you know the bald guy, right? I'll show you what he looks like. So this is the ugly, I'll censor his face for a testimonial. He looks almost like a fucking owl or something, or a big nose and stuff. But this is him, okay? Do you see it? So that's what he looks like. He's the ugliest student I have. So what kind of women did he get? Let me censor his name and a little bit of his face, okay? Now you can see, right, what he got. He's actually banging another 21, 25, 21-year-old, right? Smoking hot. But you can see this one. This was a picture of the woman that he is 10 out of 10, that he fucked. And this was like a picture 15 years ago, what she looks like. The blonde-looking Megan Fox. I'll cover a little bit of her face, but don't worry, it's as a bikini and everything, it should be fine for YouTube. You're probably like, what the fuck? Exactly, what the fuck indeed. You should see the other ones he banged. They're like 8.5 and 8 out of 10. So if he's able to do this, but he's part of the Kaizen program for 3MP. But he also took the elite access and he got a 10 out of 10. A lot of students are very ugly and they have banged really hot women. So I would say that, yeah, I have some real mutants that bang really hot women. So this has nothing to do with looks. We talked about black pill earlier because the points don't add up even for black pill, even if you're tall and white. With the minus 2.5 for the inflation, it's 20 out of 35 overall. You can distribute the points anywhere, really. Women can pick up on this subconsciously. I hope that answers your question. That's a good question, right? But something I've answered before. Hey, John, does it work for every ethnicity of students? Yes, the system works for every ethnicity, including Asians, Indians, Black students, Latinos, Italians, Jewish students, Middle Eastern students, any of them, really. This is proven by my video and screenshot laid testimonials. While each ethnicity may require a slightly tailored approach in 2025. So the 20 out of 35 system is universal. Once you cross the line of fuckability, you'll get laid no matter what, regardless of your background. For example, while students naturally score higher in perceived natural status, which is 10 out of 10, or if you're black and you're tall and you're whitewashed and you're confident, and we're not talking about the Negro black, the ones with baggy jackets, a big afro, and stuff like that. We're talking about whitewashed, faded hair, tall black men. They'll have an 8 out of 10 perceived natural status and a natural pre-selection with white women. Middle Easterns will have a 7 out of 10 because they're still seen as dominant. Latinos used to be 7 out of 10. After Donald Trump arrived twice as president and started throwing them over the border, just speaking the truth, then the first time around, Latinos had a 6 out of 10 perceived natural status. So Daygame became harder. Now they have a 5 out of 10 during 2025 when Donald Trump is president. So they are required to have more skills. And since they have a one-track mind and can only do one step, they're going to get stuck if they're not trained under me and becoming lazy. Whitewash Indians are 4 out of 10. They're not the same as the negative stereotype Indians are 2 out of 10. And the one who are 2 out of 10, They are so Indian washed, they're not aware of it. It just turns off all the women. Asians are 1 out of 10 for perceived natural status. But if they're totally Asian washed or Asian masculinity wearing black shirts and split ends, they're going to have 0 out of 10 unless they become an Asian passport bro to get some high status job for being engineer, high status third world money status advantage in their Instagram traveling. Unless they're traveling and show it on their Instagram, they have the money status advantage and the exotic or lifestyle advantage compared to the locals who cannot afford anything. Then outside of that, they'll have 0 out of 10. If you listen to other Asian dating coaches and start bulking up like a dirty bulking, like a fat compound ninja turtle with a black shirt, the system adjusts to these factors, ensuring that success for every student. So if you have less points, then you need more skills to get over the 20 out of 35. Hey, John, does your game work on every type of women? Not just white women. Yes, this system works for every type of women, including Asians, Blacks, Latinas, Italians, and even more. Even hood rats, for those of you asking. And trust me, I get asked a lot about hood rats. The 20 out of 35 system is universal because it focuses on improving traits that are attractive across all cultures, such as social skills, social calibrations, and emotional control. While some adjustments may be made for cultural nuances, the overall framework remains the same. This system has been proven to work with women all around the world, regardless of their background or environment. Hey, John, how has the new Elite Tonality Mastery course adapted for 2025? Elite Tonality Mastery is a 21-day challenge and a 10 to 15-hour deluxe digital course designed to transform your vocal tonality into that of a natural. It eliminates monotoned, cortisol-induced angry or depressed tones, helping you reduce rejections and bypass women's defenses. By mastering tonality, you mask cortisol stress in your voice. It ensures that you get your foot in the door in 2025. Even with the challenges of this year, the tariffs, and the winner-loser effect. The more you lose, the more broke you are, the higher your cortisol levels are on the rise. It's not just about having a deeper voice to indicate testosterone. It's about projecting confidence, emotional control, and high status with a whitewashed tonality. So in the 20 out of 35 system, tonality is worth 2.5 points. But if it's not mastered, it can drop you by minus 2.5 points, leaching from other areas like social skills and emotional control, even your body language for social calibrations. This makes mastering tonality critical for projecting confidence and sounding whitewash like a natural to reduce women's stress, and also to eliminate xenophobia for the ethnics, which ultimately means getting laid for Daygame in 2025. Without the precision in your tonality, even the best strategies will fail to compensate for the negative signals your voice projects. Hey John, why did you move these tonality exercises from Elite Access to a new course for Elite Tonality Mastery? Shouldn't this be taught on Elite Access instead and secretly kept from everybody? Listen, Elite Tonality Mastery was moved out of Elite Access because it required more time to break the habits for the students and building consistency than a boot camp can offer. Boot camps focus on short-term intensity for other dating coaches, but tonality training needs a long-term practicing for drills to get lasting results. Long-term consistency, not short-term intensity. This new way of teaching things in the course gives you the time and structure to truly master it, so that way you can mask yourself from the cortisol so you can get your foot in the door. People were a bit slower to adapt for Elite Access this year because they were procrastinating due to low self-esteem. So with a 21-day challenge, I can supervise on Elite Access instead of spending so much time teaching. This is the more efficient way of getting things done. What if I have a big accent, John? Will Elite Tonality Mastery work for me? Yes, it will work for you even if you have a strong accent. There's a difference between having an accent and having bad vocal abilities. Elite tonality mastery focuses on fixing bad vocals for your tonality, such as monotone, rush, or cortisol affected speech. With a bunch of close syllables together, like you're rolling the words and you're speaking super fast. When you start like this, the syllables are close. Once these are corrected, the accent becomes almost unnoticeable because your delivery is smooth, confident, and emotionally controlled. Notice how singers who are British doesn't have an accent when they're singing. Women care more about how you say something rather than the accent itself. This program ensures that your tonality is engaging, clear, and whitewashed, making objections about your accent irrelevant. Hey, John, is there a financing plan? Pay in installments or in pieces? Yes, there's a financing plan, and you can pay $333 USD in 3 installments over 3 months. Each payment unlocks specific parts of the program. The first payment for $333 will unlock Elite 30 and 1 Skype session. Second payment is $333. It unlocks the Elite Playbook and 1 week of Elite access to test if you're coachable. If you're not coachable, this is where the program ends for you. And you keep what's unlocked, we go our separate ways. Number 3, the third payment of $333 unlocks Elite Tonality Mastery, the entire Elite access, and 10 Skype sessions. So yeah, so far, most people have the financing plan. Very few actually spend the entire thing during this 2025 inflation. So use the financing plan and you have no excuses. Hey, John, what if I'm Canadian and the CAD is worthless compared to the United States dollar? Okay, let's be real here. The Canadian dollar always has been weaker than the USD. And that's not changing anytime soon. But that's just an excuse. Because someone recently bought the Elite Bundle Resurrections from Canada for the update. He already had Elite 30. So he's using a financing plan. And he's paying in 3 equal parts. They invested in themselves. You can either keep sabotaging yourself, blaming the economy, saying you're Canadian, and then we got more liberal leaders, or take responsibilities for your life. Other dating coaches, you're just funding their lifestyle. Their programs have 0 late testimonials for Daygame. I saw this one guy, absolute disability. He literally has 0 students laid. He only got 2 late testimonials in 2012. And all of a sudden, he ran a school, SKOOL. And then he got like a free coaching and nobody got laid. And then he upsells them to a group coaching and nobody got laid. And you're funding his vacation while he's a creepy white guy hitting on Asian women and just using optics standing next to white women. That's not how Canadians should be. You're not getting laid following these people that are frauds and just standing next to women, and you know it. And for the Europeans, seriously, your currency is worth more than the Canadian dollar. What's your excuse? But we're affected by the tariffs, right? Really? Your money is so much worth it compared to the Canadian dollar. It's not even close. I'm calling you out because a lot of my students are from London recently. But what about Germany? Where are you guys? Or what about all the other places that reads my blog on a daily basis from Europe? Where the hell are you? I need soldiers for this summer, and you have more attractive women over there in those countries. You have a lower cost of living than Canada, seriously, and even the United States. What's your excuse? Hey, John, what is the best way to save money for the financing plan? That's a great question, because the best way is to follow the 5-bucket strategy. For every paycheck you get, let's say you got paid for 1 week, right? You got paid $1,000, more or less, whatever job you're doing. And you never break the 20% 5-bucket rule. When you get your paycheck, actually cut some of the money, move it to a second bank account. Some bank accounts online, you can make multiple bank accounts. So you make the first bucket, you always move the 20% into that bucket. You don't touch it. You pretend it doesn't exist, because people always have emergencies. Poor people, not saying black people, but poor people always has an emergency. Something always breaks down when they're poor. The car breaks down, or something breaks down, or else their teeth falls out, and then they need an emergency dentist. But if you don't put that 20% in there, you're gonna get stuck. Can I manage the money myself? No, I've never seen it happen successfully before. I'll explain why. 20% is in the self-education bucket. You use this to invest in programs like Elite Bundle Resurrections. And for other people working as entrepreneurs, you can also invest in books or in courses to help you make more money. I do it all the time. I always believe in investing in myself, because it doesn't matter how much you save or how much the inflation takes away. Unless you have a self-education bucket to improve your high-income skills, you're always going to get stuck by the inflation. You could have to invest your way out of a problem with new ideas. You could even use Elite Tonality Mastery and Elite 30 to get promoted in your job or learn how to communicate better. These are investments beyond just Daygame. And number 3, the 20% investment bucket. Focus on assets that save or generate money. I'm not saying that you should invest in Bitcoin, but it has gone up a lot recently. There are other things you can invest in that generates income. Whatever is the asset will always put money in your pocket. Whatever is a liability will take money away from your pocket and not gain anything. It takes away time. So you got to figure out what's an asset to invest in. For me personally, I like to invest in courses. I always want to learn the latest and greatest. For example, I always thought to myself, on Facebook, I always get advertisement from other people's courses. It's like, that's why I invest in. I invest in a bunch of short courses and it always pays off. So you have to invest in yourself. A lot of people will not invest in themselves because they can't focus on books. Then listen to an audiobook. Go to YouTube and listen to the audiobook at double speed. Next is the 20% bucket for paying the bills. Of course, most people in their bank account only one, they'll just use it to pay the bills and there's nothing left over because they don't invest in themselves. Then you will start saying that junk food is now part of your expenses. Now you waste all your money because you're ADHD and you're lazy and you rather get somebody to make the food for you, but it costs an arm and a leg now. The food prices are crazy. And then the last one, the 20% is the play money. That means the more you earn, the more you can spend, but only 20%. And I've noticed with black students or black people, what they do is that for the play money bucket, they actually almost like 80% of their paydays, the play money bucket, 20% is the bills. Because when they get depressed because of ADHD, right, for black students or Latinos, they'll need to get antidepressants, not the actual antidepressants. They'll buy stupid shit, junk food, or they'll watch porn, or they'll spend on some stupid shit like retail therapy just to reduce the depression. And now they're in debt. And they'll think, oh, they got credit cards, they'll pay later on. That's why a lot of Gen Z are poor, because they're always depressed. The more depressed you are because of ADHD and you don't do what you say you're going to do, you're going to have a withdrawal. And what's going to happen is that the money will be leached away from your bank account. So your play money has to be limited to 20%. But during a tariff, maybe you should reduce it down to 10%. Because you need a discipline to do all this stuff. If you don't have discipline, you'll spend like you're Mike Tyson or Mayweather Jr. and you'll lose all your money. And even if Mayweather had $1 billion, he probably spent it all anyways. Some people claim he's broke now. Sticking to this strategy, you can free up $333 a month easily to invest in your education without sacrificing quality of life. Everything else is just excuses. Hey, John, why should I choose the Elite Bundle Resurrections over Daygame bootcamps from other coaches? Elite Bundle Resurrections focuses on long-term consistency rather than short-term intensity, relying on intense, short-lived tactics that don't last. While Elite Bundle Resurrections build on neural pathways through structured drills for permanent results. Also, now there's a memory section where you can repeat your own instructions you record of yourself. I'll pin it on your WhatsApp. You can watch it 40 times and you will not make a mistake. There's a working memory now. Things have adapted for 2025. So with 661 laden po testimonials, this program has proven success far beyond what boot camps can offer. Boot camps might give you a temporary boost of confidence, but they rarely get people laid during this inflation and this tariffs. But Elite Bundle Resurrections ensures consistent lays over time, proven by my video testimonials that are non-stop. I have 56 laid-in poll testimonials last year, and there's already quite a few for this year. Hey, John, what's the difference between Elite Bundle Resurrections and the 3MP bundle? That's a great question. Elite Bundle Resurrections is the core Daygame program for 2025. I'm only selling one course. It's designed to deliver maximum results during inflation and economic challenges. It includes Elite Tonality Mastery, which is new, Elite 30 from hard case to hero for body language, Elite Playbook for game, Elite Access for my mental filter, and 10 Skype sessions for one-on-one training. With Elite Access, you get 10 to 15 minutes of daily consultation, where I can quickly review your homework, analyze your drills, or even glance at your infields for rapid feedback. This program is ideal for most students looking for an efficient, structured system to level up their day game without overwhelming time commitment. It's 10 minutes a day. It's not much of a commitment. The 3MP bundle does not mean it's 3 months only. It's for a whole year. It's just a name. On the other hand, is a premium high-ticket program. It costs 5 or 6 times more than the Elite Bundle Resurrections. It's designed for students who need intensive one-on-one training, including 20 Skype sessions, 3 months of infield analysis, and Elite 60 for 4 to 5 months, Kaizen for 1 month, 1 month for body language, and 7 days for social skills flow drill training, text game for minorities, the mental trauma cure, and all the other is a full year of personalized coaching tailored for students requiring deeper long-term support, such as engineers or those with Asperger's, and they're really stuck, but they got money, but they don't have time. But they need an intense focus, they need more help. For example, one student paid for Elite 60, but was able to upgrade to the 3MP bundle by paying the difference. However, once the current inflation and tariffs are gone, these upgrade options of paying the difference will no longer be available. So act now, but you need to pay in full price for the 3MP bundle. After that, hey John, why don't you give direct compliments for your training in today's dating environment? Women are full of objections, and direct compliments often triggers defensive behavior immediately. You're practically off the line in the very beginning. She's gonna look at your physical appearance, and if your hair is thinning, you have a double chin, you're losing your memory, and she can see all these traits, it's an automatic rejection with bad fashion. So instead, I teach you the hybrid opener, which combines indirect adaptive elements, statements of empathy, and calling out the big objection in the back of her mind. By talking slower and using calibrated tonality, you bypass objections and disarm her fears without triggering resistance. This approach is far more effective than going direct. Hey, John, do you teach outer game or inner game first? I always start with the outer game first, because fixing the body language, tonality, and social calibrations gives you immediate results. But when your mindset crashes, we switch back to inner game using the mindset playlist. The mindset playlist includes 26 audios, and I ask you to write down 10 takeaways in a Google document. Obviously, not just copying and pasting from the transcription, right? But over time, you update it with new struggles and new problems that you have. Let's say, for example, I call you out for procrastinating. I'll write that on top of your Google Documents. You're going to be writing the takeaway on Google Documents, but then you're going to add the problems at the end in maybe a blue color. I also create a personalized text-to-speech audio to help you reset your mindset. Once you finish all of this process helps you to bounce back quickly and speeds up your speed of implementation. Because once you listen to that audio, boom, you're back to being super lightning speed for a couple of days before you crash out again in 3 or 4 days. Before, it was 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 weeks in 2024. Now it's 3 days, people are just losing their minds. I get it, the tariffs, right? It's a constant switch. When you're stuck in outer game, we shift to your inner game to reset your mind. But once your mindset is back on track, we'll return to the outer game again. And we'll keep building momentum through long-term consistency instead of short-term intensity. This back and forth will ensure consistent progress and it will get you faster results for Daygame. Hey John, how does Elite 30 and Elite Playbook and Elite Tonality Mastery work together? These courses are designed to work as a system, building on top of each other. Number 1, I'll recommend you start with Elite Tonality Mastery. You finish this 21-day challenge and you go through all the videos 6 times to burn it into your brain if you don't have a working memory. It refines your vocal tonality, helping you master your monotoned or cortisol-affected speech. This course is critical for 2025 for reducing rejections and ensuring emotional control. Number 2, you're going to go through the Elite 30-day challenge with the facial expressions, putting them together. You start Elite 30, and then the foundation for the social skills and social calibrations. You learn to move naturally, you speak more confidently, and handle interactions without awkwardness. Number 3, optional, you can go through Elite Playbook. This course teaches you advanced game tactics to take women from open to pull. It focuses on strategy and execution, especially dating. Together, these courses create a complete system that ensure consistent success in Daygame. People using Elite Access are crashing out. They're so slow that they're not able to actually implement any of this stuff easily. They're rotting. It's like a plant. They're overwatered, they'll start to rot. It's called root rotting. People are rotting away, turning into zombies, for lack of a better word. Elite Access worked really well last year, but this year it's better to focus on the courses and go through every single one of them 6 times in a row to burn it into your memory. Because if you don't have a working memory due to cortisol, due to the winner and loser effect, it makes no sense not to do that. Hey John, what happened to Elite Daygame First Steps booklet or the Elite Focus for Daygamers course? Did you remove it? Look, these courses have been removed. They have been merged into other programs for better organization and value. So for example, the Elite Daygame First Steps booklet, the bonus video, is now part of Elite 30 as Module 6, covering the approach anxiety and the hybrid opener. It's just been basically rearranged to a different area. The Elite Focus for Daygamers course on the budgeting and tonality has been moved to the final module of Elite Tonality Mastery because budgeting is what's gonna be able to make sure your voice does not have that depressed sigh at the end of the sentence when you're breathing, when you're talking. So that will help the student's survival value. Originally, I wanted to make a golden ticket where people can pay $5 and they can have a copy of Elite Daygame Steps for WhatsApp or Elite Tonality Mastery, but I decided now against it. So I don't want to put that on the sales letter. I removed it. Hey, John, what are the 5 mindsets and how does it relate to the 20 out of 35 first principles of Daygame to get that lay from the line of, all right, the 5 mindsets are critical for success in Daygame because they determine how fast you approach and execute the 20 out of 35 system. They include a growth mindset to focus on continuous improvement. G stands for growth mindset. Resilience handles rejections and keeps moving forward. 3, instincts. How to adapt to situations in real time using my mental filter, not yours. Tenacity, to stay consistent with your training and approaches until you go for the knockout or go for the same day lay. So it's about emotional stability to maintain control under pressure to avoid reactive behaviors. These mindsets ensure that you can effectively improve your 20 out of 35 score and execute consistently in the field. But in reality, the 5 mindsets is number 1, teachability. How teachable are you out of 10? So for some people, how we're adapting in 2025, most are not teachable. It's down to 0 or 0.5. I've seen zombies repeat the same mistakes week after week. If you watch every video 6 times, it's in your mind. Or if you call yourself out in a video and I pin it for your WhatsApp and you hear it 40 times, it's reinforced through your mental filter, even if you feel you're rotting away. Your teachability is very important. We're raising the teachability in 2025. Your changeability will be higher. That's also scored out of 10. You have to be changeable. That means you cannot repeat the same mistakes. So when you reinforce it 40 times, knowing what the mistakes are, or go through my course 6 times in a row, your changeability will be higher. And also that means you're going to have more skills this way. You cannot raise your skill index, which is number 1, unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. So it's good asking questions. Number 2, you go from that to conscious incompetence. Now that you know you're making mistakes, but you can't change it, but you're aware of it. But if you don't actually reinforce it like 40 times in a row, or you go through it 6 times, you're going to forget what the mistakes are. So afterwards, you get to conscious competence. I give you the feedback. the 40 different times that you listen to yourself, telling yourself what the mistakes are, you fix it, and you repeatedly get it right. That's why that's important. And then eventually you do that enough times, and I supervise you, you go into unconscious competence, where everything becomes natural. It becomes second nature. This is the way. Hey, John, why does your students flirt so much and not sexualize it nonstop like other white dating coaches tells you to? Flirting keeps you on the line. It's like the straight line persuasion of Jordan Belfort, which is far more effective than constant sexualization, or what I call half-assed sexualization, which keeps you off the line depending on the women, unless she's 3 out of 10 in looks, which you will filter out by sexualizing it nonstop. So sexualizing it too much triggers the defenses and also makes women feel uncomfortable, especially in Daygame or higher quality women. Oh no, but their mentality is, oh, if you want to have sex, then you gotta sexualize it. Nope. Flirting creates an emotional spike and attraction, while the interaction is socially calibrated with your body language. Because if your body language is calibrated, you always have that 2.5 points, and you also build seduction at the same time. That 45-degree body language. But if you flirt when she talks more, then what was once cold becomes warm, and you keep up the social skills flow drill, right? She's funneled to your body language. And then when she talks more again, maybe a couple minutes in, then you flirt again. It's that simple. Now warm become cold. Okay, now cold becomes warm. You get it? You do this again, warm becomes hot. You always wanted her hot and wet all the time. It's that simple, but you'll never get there sexualizing it, because you'll be rejected so much more than you'll get from going direct. Hey, John, does this work for night game? While my system is optimized for day game, the principles of social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and for the tonality can still work in night game. However, night game requires a lower score, 15 out of 35. So instead of 20 out of 35, because there's no social skills that you can do because the music is too loud, and there's no emotional control because of loud music and alcohol. You cannot be relaxed and chilled. So that's why companies like ABCs of low self-esteem, Asians, and other people can get laid for night game, but they cannot get laid for day game very often. It was just luck that one time a student got laid in Mexico or Peru. Passport bro with an extra 4 points of value, right, for status maxing. But other than that, they don't get students laid. So that's why Asians are so addicted to night game and listening to strong, good-looking coaches. But that being said, day game offers more consistent results for my students and higher quality women compared to night game, since you can't talk in a loud nightclub easily, affecting social skills. So that's what Asians love, right? Because they're Asperger's. Plus, you can't have emotional control in a nightclub with alcohol. Hey, John, does this work with women at work or the gym or some other type of scenario? Yes, the hybrid opener algorithm works in any scenario, including work, the gym, or other social settings. It's adaptable to fit the context, ensuring that you can approach smoothly without triggering the objections. Whenever it's a casual or professional environment, the opener adjusts to the situation, because you have to indirectly ask a question, you transition to an adaptive opener, 2 observations, and then you make a statement of empathy, how it's random, and then you call out the elephant in the room. I know it's really random to speak in the gym to you. I'm going to do it anyways because I'm a social butterfly. Indirect question, hey, do you know where this section is for the gym? Oh, by the way, I just noticed something about you. I've noticed you're X plus Y. Are you Z? I've noticed that you're thin, but you're more like slender build compared to the other weightlifters. Are you also doing yoga or maybe CrossFit, right? Hey, I know this is a random question, right? But I used to do yoga or CrossFit before, and I noticed you have that kind of look, right? So I was just curious. You see how you can adapt to any situation, but don't shit where you eat. These days, women films the gym stuff, right? So be careful. But yes, the adaptive or the hybrid opener works in any scenario, so you never get in trouble. Nothing wrong with asking an indirect question, and you only transition if she's receptive. Hey, John, why does your students work out to create a V-shaped body? Women are biologically attracted to a small waist and broad shoulders with huge lats, which is the upside down version of their own hourglass figure. Look at women. Small waist, big hips. So it fits better in a blazer too, which is critical for the whitewash husband material frame. But of course, you want to avoid dirty bulking or compound lifts that creates this Asian compound Ninja Turtle look, where these short Asians have big bulky arms without any definition, with big dirty bulking bodies and a big ass belly, and they look like Shrek. And when they wear a blazer, they don't do it. That's why they like a t-shirt, because they look like a Shrek looking body. The V shape is a lean, sharp, and high status look. It enhances your SMV, or your sexual market value, by making you look more attractive and more dominant without the big, fat, bulky bodies that Asian compound Ninja Turtles of the Asian masculinity have. Hey, John, what is the whitewash husband material frame your students uses for fashion? There are 6 frames. Number 1, the fuckboy frame. It means like quick sex, same day lay guy, but you dress like shit. Number 2 is the boyfriend and girlfriend frame with romantic flirts, and is not effective because you don't fit in the boyfriend and girlfriend frame. Not everyone's a boyfriend material. So therefore, they have to pull women back home and use alcohol and use heavy bedroom escalation. Number 3 is the friend zone or social circle frame. This is a setup game. Unless you have high status for your social circle, this is not gonna work. You're gonna get friend zoned. My students can get friend zoned and keep up the body language, pull her back home and still have sex with her. So they're adaptable. But number 4 is the best frame. It's husband material frame. The reason why it's so powerful is because most women want to get married. You may not think so because of modern women and people get angry at women, but they all secretly, when they get older, they all want to get married and start a family. So most women, besides the ones who are narcissistic, and they'll bang like over 100 guys very quickly when they're younger because she has some problems and needs the validation. But most women don't have a high body count. And before the pandemic, the lockdowns, they usually have around 10 boyfriends or something. And then afterwards, they'll get married with number 11. So they always start with a short guy in high school who's an ethnic, because that's all she can get. And then after she goes to university, she's gonna get like a 6'4" or 6'5" white guy. And then all of a sudden, the next 4 is gonna be like around 5'11" to 6'3" or something. And then eventually, one's gonna be 5'10", and then it's gonna go even taller, like 6 foot something. And then when she gets married, he's gonna be around 5'10" or something. He's gonna taper off, right? Because her SMV is gonna go down. But the husband material frame makes you skip the entire line of those 10. It puts you number 1 for marriage material. This is how the Asians and the Indians, by being whitewashed in husband material, can bypass all those rejections and not fitting into the boyfriend and girlfriend frame of romantic flirts. So therefore, that's how it works. And that's why my students can get laid in 1 to 6 approaches only, because they're in the husband material frame, whitewash. So that does not create xenophobia, which is the fear and dislike of other people's culture, especially for Asian ethnics that looks Asian wash or Indian wash. So the next frame is the sugar daddy seeking arrangements lead gen frame. I don't recommend this frame at all. And number 6 is the high status or celebrity status frame. Not everyone can run setup game with being a club promoter with a high status or celebrity status. Most people can't do it. It takes a lot of money. You have to be quite rich, even if they claim they were not rich before, but they're richer than most people. And trying to have a nice apartment on top of being a club promoter and all this stuff to raise a status for high status is very hard to do. If you're introverted and you're an engineer and you're Indian, you can't do something like that, because if you try to do that, your boss will fire you. If they see you hanging around with a bunch of women in nightclubs, just standing next to them with a big smile and a big grin, that's not gonna work. So the whitewash husband material frame is universally effective. And this is what gets 661 laid in poll testimonials. Most people cannot fit into the boyfriend and girlfriend frame, and most people cannot fit into the high status frame anyways, if you're not an entrepreneur and you don't have a boss to deal with. So if you're husband material, that's what's gonna work. Stick to the whitewash fashion all my students uses, and that signals financial stability. You don't have to be rich to look rich. and to be whitewashed and to look husband material. Also, this deals with the age objections. For younger women, they like an older guy that has financial stability. So this is why students in their 50s can get laid with women in their 20s, because they look like they're husband material ready. And this bypasses the age concerns. So if you're getting older, even though you have a good jawline and you're white and you look Chad, but when you go for younger women dressing like you're from the 90s without the husband material fashion, you're going to become a creep. So adaptability. Once you are in a relationship, you can adjust the style afterwards. But during Daygame, this whitewash husband material uniform, like my army uniform for my students, and hairstyle is like the helmet, and the shoes are like the boots, and the blazer and the shirt and the pants are like your camouflage. And also you want to avoid the K-pop fashion. Avoid the K-pop fashion because it's too flashy and only appeals to younger white girls with yellow fever. I dye my hair not because I want to look K-pop. I do it because of function. I have a lot of white hairs. I'm not sure if you can see it. That's the only reason why I do it, because you can see the white hairs everywhere. Most of my hair is almost white, actually. 70% of it's white. That's not to mimic K-pop trends. Is your system adaptable to fit individuals, or everyone has to become the same? In my army, everyone has to become the same. A lot of your questions that you have asked me so far, what I've noticed is that you want to feel like you are enough, right? RSD, I am enough. I just have to do it once and I should be fine. You're almost like burning steaks, right? Like a Wagyu, very expensive. And you're just fucking it up a little bit less the second time when you practice the drills. So you don't practice more than twice. And then you go out there and you just keep burning more steaks. That's your mentality, like a RSD zombie. No offense. Unapologetic, honest. You have this mentality of really RSD or tall, self-proclaimed high leg count guy. You are enough, don't try too hard. Like, none of that shit works. None of that shit works. So by being like in the army, you give women what they want because everything's been field tested and split tested. Only one combination works. Only one hairstyle works. Only one like dress shirt and one blazer works. Only one type of pants work. Only one type of shoes works. And look at Marco, right? Guys quit wasting time. How am I supposed to get the students laid in 1 to 6 approaches, husband material, if you guys start changing the variable algorithm? You change it, then I can't get you laid in 1 to 6 approaches. And if you don't have a working memory, or you cannot hear in your voice that it sounds angry when you practice the homework because of alexithymia, which is very common for people without like emotional blindness, then that's just going to make it harder. So if you're doing the opposite of what I'm teaching, that makes you an unteachable case. Unteachable cases during the 2025 inflation, I hate to say it, they have 0 chances of getting laid. So if you try to half-ass things and try to be a zombie, and just like, oh, it's good enough. It's not good enough. You have to be precise. Hey, John, why does your students take supplements for Daygame? When you can't focus due to ADHD or other hardware issues, it increases cortisol levels. It lowers your focus and it ruins your mood. It directly impacts your Daygame interaction. So without focus, your self-esteem drops into a deficit. When that happens, you risk falling into the low self-esteem patterns. You become delusional. You start half-assing it, becoming lazy. So the lazier you feel, the more lower self-esteem you have. Then you start making poor decisions that fail within 4 months. You realize in 4 months, it's like John was right. I can't believe it. I don't like John, but John was right about everything. And ultimately, you're going to quit. This system is designed to prevent that negative spiral. So by focusing on consistent drills and completing your 30-day challenge, along with a 21-day challenge, and also hearing your audio of yourself or video, telling yourself 40 times what the mistakes are, you stabilize your mood with the supplements, you boost your focus, and you rebuild your self-esteem. That's why ashwagandha is important, L-theanine, and other things for focus. This ensures you stay on track to avoid self-sabotage. It's almost like if it's this old computer with a bad power supply, it's going to overheat. By taking the supplements, you give enough power to the slow brain to go fast. If you're like a zombie, you have to go from zombie to backwards to half zombie, half human. But you have to go from zombie to half human, half zombie, and back to a human temporarily. And the supplements will help you do that, make you stack enough wins that you start to raise your self-esteem and lower your ego. You become less lazy, you take more action, you unleash that faster speed of implementation. and you're more accurate. Accuracy is very important. Okay, John, the soundtrack that it comes with, you use in your videos, can I buy it separately? I get this question a lot. And no, the soundtrack is exclusive to Elite Bundle Resurrections and cannot be purchased separately. Hey, John, are Indians still banned from India from training with you? Yes, Indians from India are still banned due to past issues with the inflation and backstabbing. However, I do train Indians from the Western countries, as they tend to have a different mindset. Right now, all Indians, they'll pretend to buy something. They won't buy anything because they have no money. They'll waste your time. Also, they'll backstab you if they start getting laid with your coaching. At first, they'll go from a depressed gear, and then they'll go into the lower self gear, like lower self-esteem. They'll start acting sneaky and stuff. And then when they reach the backstabbing gear, the lowest gear, they're going to start to stonewall you, ignore you. When they start ignoring you, they're going to stab you in your face before they stab you in the back. And then when they fail and everything, they go back into depressed gear. That's an Indian person. Unless they need you, they'll be nice to you. But they cannot wait to stab you in the back, just like Filipinos always stab everyone in the back. There's no higher self gear, the top gear. So that's how Indians are like. But they're always procrastinating whenever they're in the depressed gear because of ADHD. So I'm not going to train Indians from India. They have too much ADHD to leave the country. If they cannot leave the country and they're stuck in that place does not look good. But I know this stuff because I taught so many Indians from India. They're all banned since 2022. As soon as the inflation hit, they all bench-hoded and they all mentally self-destruct. And now they're not even able to focus. They have no money. And these people are scumbags. And I do not say the same thing of Western Indians. They are not scumbags, they're good people. But the ones in India are all bad people. There's not a single good Indian from India. And the tariff right now is even worse. They're going to turn into total zombie. So please do not ask to train with me. I don't want your SEO services for my website. I don't want to trade coaching for some other bullshit. Hey, John, what's the mindset playlist and why is it so important for their coaching? That's a good question. The Mindset playlist includes 26 videos designed to reset your mental filter. It's on a YouTube playlist that is secret. Each video has 10 takeaways that you're supposed to write. The problem that you encounter after a week or two will be connected to the takeaways. And obviously for your takeaways, you don't actually try to just use the transcription from YouTube and copy and paste. You gotta put in your own words and connect them together, because I'm gonna give you a bunch of things you have messed up with. And you're going to place them with blue letters at the end. And these will be converted to a text-to-speech audio. You have your own MP3 with your own name on it. So every time you listen to it, you'll hard reset. But skill set without mindset will lead to upset. You are not enough. You go slow and you'll procrastinate and you cannot hear your mistakes. And you're just going to reinforce the loser effect. Get more of a double chin. You're going to lose more hair. And you're going to get skinny fat. It's crucial during the tough times, like the tariff, that as many people, they always crash out emotionally every single week now. Before, it was maybe crash out once every single month. Now it's every single week. I'm just wondering, who is the next person that's going to lose their mind? The Vietnamese and Chinese guy that has no facial expressions, he just crashed out. Who's the next person to crash out? It's just one crash out after another, lots of bans. When they get banned, they come back, they're more refreshed. But if they don't change, they get moved to a different program. Hey, John, why do you change your training methods every single year? Actually, I adapt my training methods to meet the challenges of the times. Major milestones like the pandemic, and then the 2023 to 2024 inflation, and now the 2025 inflation and Donald Trump tariffs. They all require adjustments to ensure students continue to succeed. Each year brings new obstacles, and I refine my system to help the students overcome these barriers effectively. So for 2025, the focus is on masking the cortisol traits caused by the economic stress for the winner and loser effect. Your facial expressions, your congruency, and the state of your mind directly affects your tonality, the words you use for your overall emotions. If they're incongruent, for example, like a student was asking me, why does everyone else tell him he looks like a serial killer for his normal face, his neutral face? This can derail your progress. To counteract this, I've introduced methods like having students record their mistakes, they pin them on the WhatsApp, they replay it 40 times in a row, and this repetition builds stronger habits. It compensates for their lack of working memory due to the cortisol for the winner and loser effect. And this ensures long-term consistency over short-term intensity. What percentage of students in 2025 are unteachable cases? In 2025, the percentage of unteachable cases has risen significantly. Now it's closer to 50 or 60%, compared to 20% in 2024. This was largely due to the winner and loser effect, where financial struggles from the inflation and tariffs leads to higher cortisol levels in 2025. This results in procrastination, self-sabotage, and a refusal to take responsibility. Common traits of unteachable cases. These individuals often blame external forces. They procrastinate. They sabotage their own progress instead of adapting and following instructions. Unteachable cases are those who refuse to take action. They do the opposite of what I teach. They exhibit delusional mindsets and quit easily without resilience. These individuals often procrastinate. They blame external factors and sabotage their own progress instead of taking extreme ownership and following instructions. So my coaching is designed for serious, teachable students who are ready to follow drills, improve consistently, and take responsibility for their success. Not people that are so broke that they're in survival mode getting delusional. So if someone feels like they fall into the unteachable case category, it's better they explore other paths like Tinder or Night Game, rather than waste time trying to train here. This is not a place that can teach zombies indefinitely if you keep crashing out. Hey John, if this is only 30% of your game that you have revealed, why are you not releasing everything at once for everyone else? So in 2024, about 20% of the students were unteachable cases. Now in 2025, Donald Trump tariffs, it's closer to 50 or 60% due to the winner and loser effect, and how people are emotionally affected by the economic conditions. This is why I change it to the 30-day challenge, then the 21-day challenge, or vice versa. Some students, they start with a 21-day challenge from Elite Tonality Mastery, and they switch to the 30-day challenge of Elite 30. They have to just show up and spend 10 minutes a day now, because if they overdo it, they'll root rot, just like plants. You overwater them, they're gonna root rot. But half-assing game techniques isn't enough. If you try to sexualize it, try to use DHV stories, or say, can I meet you real quick, and schedule to the house collecting flaky phone numbers. These extra concepts, right, are like Elite 60, Emotional Mastery, or the 5-element game, Secret Agent game, the 6-frame strategy, and much more that I have not taught yet. These are secret things I will not release until more time has passed to maintain my dominance in the day game industry. If I start revealing too much of this stuff, like I said, Secret Agent game, what is that? Or the 5-element game, 6-frame strategy, emotional mastery stuff like the external brain. If I start teaching too much of this stuff and other dating coaches copy, but they don't copy because they're narcissists, they think they know everything. So that way I can always maintain my number one spot. Number one in the day game industry. If I review everything, right, other people start to learn this stuff. That's why I keep it at 30%. Even if I teach the social skills flow drill in the future, that's only 40%. I want to keep the other 60% for myself. I'm sorry, but you don't need all 100% to get laid. If it gets harder, then I'll add more. No problem. How much of your game is derived from mystery method? 0, because there's no open attraction building, right? Comfort, and then seduce at the end, and then lay. I don't follow that model. That's very rigid. All systems follow that model. That's why they cannot get lay testimonials, or they use the RSD model. I don't follow that. There is no, okay, now you can only build all attraction in the beginning. It's all adapted. It's like natural. When she talks more, you can flirt more. When she's off the line, you can tease. But that's the thing I'm saying to answer the earlier question. It's like the social skills flow drill, right? Instead of massive social comfort, if you have a social skills flow drill triangle that continually go in a triangle, she will talk more. When she talks more, she likes you, she trusts you, and be willing to go home with you. But if you are a zombie like a Latino, and you cannot do the social skills flow drill because you can only do 1 step, not 3, then you will not build that comfort because she talks more. It's like the dog that barks more, the more she's gonna like you. So that's what you want to do. You want to get her talking more. But you can't do that with a zombie flow drill by making statements or questions in between her short answers. So when you have a 45-degree body language, instead of squaring off and whatever, You don't have as much cortisol. You build attraction gradually like this, upwards. You don't have to do push-pose, right? Or DHV stories to spike. Because most women don't believe short, low ethnics DHV stories. They tried it, so it's all eliminated. Validation does not work. It's like a homeless person giving validation. So if they can keep up the body language and build a seduction and the attraction, and they spike it with the flirting, then overall, if you had to add the volume of water, imagine that's water, right? Like this, from this side of the screen to the other. That's all water. It goes upwards to the Insta date. And then in between, you have like flirts that spikes it with water, up, down, triangle, right? Like here, and then over here. You add all the water in between all that spikes and all that going upwards, you have more attraction here than you do with just going like this, hunching, and then using game techniques, push-pull. What goes up goes down, get it? So it's very little water left. And then all of a sudden, you do a self-amusement, then you spike it, and then another challenging, and then self-amusement, and then you cocky funny, DHV stories, right? Sexualizing it. These are very small spikes overall. Very little water can fill into this stuff. So in reality, that's why my students can do same-day lays and 1-to-6 approaches. This becomes a numbers game by spiking it. So they think, oh, if they're spiking it and they're hunching and they're going to basic social comfort because they're zombies. That's why they do that, because most of these coaches are former engineers, or they're logical. Even Justin Wayne or Mystery is logical because they have Asperger's syndrome. Most of them are former engineers or Asperger's, so they don't understand social skills. And also the body language builds attraction. The emotional control, the whitewashed tonality also builds comfort because you fit into her tribe because you're whitewashed. You don't sound like hey, I'm a beta Asian, or I'm not like an Indian, right? I'm like so beta and trying to be cocky funny. It's congruent. So all these things does not require basic social comfort, like Justin Wayne bullshit or stupid romantic sexual flirts. None of that is necessary. That's old, stupid mystery method game derivative. These mystery method-like systems have no chance they're gonna get slaughtered. As the tariff gets harder, it's not gonna work because it's built on Asperger's. My one was built on naturals that have perfect social skills, perfect social calibrations, perfect emotional control. All that stuff equals the right social comfort. Does that make sense? So even if you only have 2.5 points for a game and you try to use basic social comfort for emotions, you don't have any body language and you don't have any social skills. It's looks, money, status plus game, but your game sucks. Direct game is not working. Let's just be real here. None of you are getting laid by direct. Not anymore. You're not even getting that 4 out of 10 anymore. Or you're doing like 1,500 approaches, you're not getting that laid anymore. Even for short ethnics, they're trying to do 10,000 approaches, you're not getting any lays. Direct does not work anymore. So this is the only system in town, as long as you're not a zombie. So what do you mean by on the line? So Jordan Belfort, right? The guy from Wolf of Wall Street, remember Leonardo DiCaprio, right? That guy has a straight line persuasion system, right? So whenever he's in a conversation, that's how Jordan Belfort talks like. Whenever they get off topic, they deviate off the line, then, they may be talking about their camping trip or something like that, right? And you don't want to be on the line. So you say, oh, that's wonderful. But anyways, let's talk about this product. Now you're back on the line. But there's a thing with my Daygame system. Because you're not a zombie, right? Because you have high self-esteem, the zombies cannot see it when the women are not congruent. That's why they look for IOIs. But when you're on the line, if you start giving a direct compliment, already in the beginning of the line, you deviate off the line. Now you give more validations and you're completely off the line. Now you're off the line, it becomes a numbers game. That stuff does not work without an Instagram close or something like that. You start using London Daygame garbage because you say, hey, I just come by and say hi because you look very attractive. I know this is random, but I had to come by and say hi because you look attractive. Oh, now I'm self-amusement and I'm challenging you. That's why most of London are in jail or they're like offing themselves because they're crazy. But these Asperger-like tactics don't work anymore. So that's on the line, off the line. If they go hybrid opener, they cannot get rejected. So they're automatically on the line. Plus, if they're husband material, they're automatically on the line. So they're not off the line because they're not giving validations or DHV stories because they don't believe the short Asians. They're not off the line. They're always on the line. When they flirt at the right times, when she talks more, they're on the line. Get it? When she's off the line, if she gives attitude, they tease, they're back on the line. And this way, they do it all the way until the bedroom. They maneuver, they sexualize it to the maximum, and then they deal with the looping the sexual objections, and they get laid. So they're always on the line. That means they can get laid in 1 to 6 approaches indefinitely if they have a neural link. That's why I'm focusing on the memory to become a neural link for first principles. So all these game stuff you've been learning with hunching your body language, shitty fashion, and you are enough, making massive approaches, they have zero chance of getting laid. And if they get laid, it's very lucky. It's just luck. Just getting some 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. It's just luck. SMVing it. But there's not enough SMV with minus 2.5 points. Hey, John, if your system is so powerful, why doesn't other dating coaches just copy you, teach your game to get nonstop late testimonials just like you? First of all, thank you for saying that, but narcissistic people and their sociopaths, they have opinions as facts. They can't do it or understand it because they're like zombies. Their brain doesn't work. They have Asperger's and they're sociopathic. So they're socially impaired. And so they look like the naturals, right? But their eyes have a sociopathic death stare. For the white dating coaches like this, they're not the same as the naturals. They don't have social skills. They're autistic or Asperger's. They're sociopaths. Even if they try to copy me, their mental filter and their delusions, they cannot understand what I'm saying. Their first instinct is to dismiss everything I'm saying, and they love to smell their own farts. They literally, like Charisma King, will literally believe whatever they say becomes the truth with zero lay testimonials. The guy can run a career just because he's white and he might be good at it, but he can get 0 students late, only 3 posts. So that's why it won't work. So I hope that answers your question. They can copy all they want. They just don't understand me. They don't have the social skills or the mental filter. So all those early days you studied game was completely useless. They're completely useless, yeah. Take you come up with this. Yeah, because when I met my Pakistani mentor, a lot of the stuff was zombie game. So I started in 2001 university, right? So imagine how old I really am. I'm probably like old enough to be your father for most of you, okay? I just look younger for some unknown reason. I'm just not aging. I physically do not age. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I could indefinitely do this forever because I look like 23 or something forever, 24, depending on how much weight I gain or not. But I am the original gangster. I started before Mystery. I started before Ross Jeffries in 2001. Mystery and Ross were 2003. I'm 2001. I'm original gangster. All the early stuff, NLP stuff, I learned like the Ross Jeffrey kind of shit. None of it worked. I didn't even get laid in university. I got my head kicked in. I got curb stomped. All the earlier direct game stuff did not work for all those years after 2001. I've been through hell. I've been through so much mental trauma from game. I have lost my mind. In the beginning, I lost all my emotions. I lost all the other stuff. I've changed. I don't like talking about it because it's very painful. I did so many approaches. I've probably done close to 40,000 approaches. And the only thing that worked right before was the aeroscience. And when I met my Pakistani mentor, the naturals, right? And I started meeting all the other naturals, then everything changed because nothing they teach was exactly the same as the zombie game. It was all bullshit. So the best way to think about it was all the early stuff was like a golden nugget, right? Let's say Todd V, everything was bullshit. But maybe you might learn one golden nugget. You look backwards for 2 seconds before you stop. All the Todd V stuff was just bullshit. So all dating coaches only have golden nugget. So I started collecting like over 50 golden nuggets because I learned every system. Gold nugget, it still will equal some gold. Does that make sense? But it's not enough. When I learn from the naturals, it's like a gold bar. And whenever I learn from other dating coaches, it's like a fool's gold. It's like a bronze coin or something. It barely works without alcohol or heavy bedroom emasculation. It's all bullshit. It's all either a numbers game or mass approaching or else using alcohol or some kind of clout maxing Instagram game. There's always some kind of crutch. Most of the people, the pickup artist community, are getting women that are 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. That's a secret. They don't show you. They don't tell you. And my students are getting like way above. So that's the naturals. Until I met all the other naturals, this stuff for my low SMV does not work. And the only thing that does work is maneuver, sexualized objections looping. So when you look at my infields or the earlier stuff, they only use aeroscience, all of them. There's no other game system that works for me in Vancouver because my SMV is so low here. Women are automatically turned off because there's too many Asians everywhere. These Asians everywhere. No offense to the Asians up there. We have so many Asians in British Columbia that you barely stand out as a negative stereotype. So you have to be perfect social skills, perfect everything. And the aero science is the only thing that works. It's like playing Street Fighter, right? Like an old video game back in the day. But you're playing the arcade at the most highest difficulty. So now you put the stars all the way up to 8, right? The hardest one. You get your head knocked in. I'm not joking. I bang women that are like way taller, way younger, and way prettier than me. This is the only thing that works. So eventually, if you have to play against a computer that will beat the living fuck out of you every single time, you have to spam like 1 or 2 different things. In this case, 3 things: maneuver, sexualize, objections, looping. Nothing else works. Phone number closes will all flake in Vancouver if you don't same day late. So that's the important thing. Unless you're like my Pakistani mentor who has perfect social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and perfect game, and high value. Unless you're like him, right, like supernatural, that's the only thing that works. He can get all the other women and stuff, that's tough. But for me, this is the only thing that works. It's like playing Street Fighter, so difficult. And eventually you're gonna adapt. You're gonna find out that you try 10 different moves or 20 different moves, they all fail. One of them works. That means I can transfer that one move, right, to all of these students and get late testimonials. So I put myself through like what they call field tests, right? Because I have low SMV. You might say John's decent looking, he has an okay face. Women don't see that over here. They don't see that in Vancouver. They see me as that fucking like those damn fucking Asians, right? Oh, another Asian. They just think of you they think you're part of the background, right? Invisible. They grew up in school, bunch of Asians they ignored for all these years. Go to university, they don't even exist. That's Vancouver. It's not a friendly place towards Asians, which is great because the difficulty has made it show me exactly what works. So whenever I teach students, they get like over 100 something lays or many lays because they're using a bit of my stuff. So I myself, because of my low SMV, 5'7", height matters a lot in Vancouver for some reason. It matters so much. So if you're like 5'11", like it's easier. So yeah. I've been through a lot. I've been through 35,000, 40,000 approaches. I have a lot of trauma from it and I'm fucked. But my sacrifice for my sanity equals 661 lay and poll testimonials. I don't like talking about it. But then eventually, once you start field testing, I started split testing to see what works. When I started teaching direct game, right, in 2012, the only people that got laid were white people or 6'4" Indians. So I knew height was very important. That's why I learned. So I've been through a lot. So after the testing stage, I want to test every single style. I started teaching direct game in the beginning. So I have a lot of experience with direct game. I taught natural and direct. I taught structural direct. I taught London Daygame direct. I taught simple pickup style direct. I taught every direct game. And the Chinese people, the Asians, right, the short little ethnics, none of them got laid. From 2012 all the way till 2017. Most of the Asians got their fucking head kicked in. They still were my students. But very rarely did they get laid. And I know this sounds awful. What kind of horrific torture was this for the other Asian students? So you're saying that direct did not work? They got their teeth kicked in. And then Jan Lifestyle would be like, you guys got to be natural and direct, like Julian Blanc. None of his students got laid. He has 0 late testimonials for Daygame, for Jan Lifestyle. That's how Vancouver is like. It's a kill zone. When a student flew over here and he said, John, I don't see any PUAs here approaching because they're all dead. They're all giving up because of the inflation and the tariffs. So only my students, and that's why I didn't have as much Asian students from, I'm just telling you guys the truth here. The split testing was crazy. I tried every style and the only thing that works is the same thing. Maneuver, sexualize, objections, looping. If you can same day lay with that, then your phone number is not flake. There's only one fashion, unfortunately. There's only one blazer. There's only one dress shirt. There's only one haircut. I try everything. You know how many shirts do I have? Every combination I've tried. What role do you play in Daygame? I'm the general for my army. So without me, they will not know what to do. I have the most students laid in the world because of all the naturals and all the gold nuggets and all the gold bars. My role in this is the general that leads my army to gain laid. You don't know how many clothing I have. I'll show you here. Okay? Every fucking combination. I have blazers of every single color. Like, I've tried these kind of dress shirts. I have blue blazers, I have white blazers, I have gray blazers, I have every blazers. This is my signature Asian style John Elite jacket. I have ones with hoodies and all these fancy shit. I have every single clothing in existence. I have leather jackets. I've tried every combination, right? See that? I have jackets that is like Andrew Tate kind of snake-like jackets, right? I have these like super dry Japanese jackets. I have white blazers. I have leather jackets. You can see the leather jacket here, but I literally try every combination. I'm the sacrificial lamb. Not only that, I also have like high fashion from Zara. I have a lot of high fashion stuff, some really weird looking stuff. If I did not do this, right, and try every system in the world and be the sacrificial lamb and be the Moses, I am the Moses that leads my fellow Asians and other autistic PUAs to the promised land, to get married and to grow the tree of life for Jesus. That is what my mission is. Because afterwards, when they die and they don't have their autism or Asperger's or their sociopathy, then they have their empathy and they realize, oh shit, they've been robbed from the ability to procreate. I give them that because Jesus has granted me this gift of being the world's best day game coach. Jesus said to me, just like Moses saw a fire in the plant, right? It says, Moses, right? You will lead your Jewish people to like the promised land. He doesn't want to do it. When I first made Elite 30 from hard case to hero, Jesus was like, from hard case to hero. I was like, what? What does that mean? It has to be called from hard case to hero. I tried to change the name to social skills. Nobody bought it. It has to be from hard case to hero. I was like, okay, fine. We'll call it like whatever, 30 from hard case to hero. And it's sold like crazy. Hard case to hero, meaning that they go from hard case to human. I didn't come up with the name. I don't know what it means to this day. I think it means that. But that's the name that Jesus wanted. And this product had to be made. Whenever students get laid, it's almost like the manifestation index. When I deal with unteachable cases, right, they make me frustrated. They affect my thoughts and feelings for manifestation. But whenever it's cleared, the students automatically get laid. So I have to keep my mental filter clear. That's why I don't like root rotting zombies for students. I ban them. And then other students will get laid. But yeah, there's a spiritual side to this game too. And I'm here to help people in the tree of life. A lot of autistic people during the 2025 inflation are going to get stuck. So if some of you can still use Tinder, okay, more power to you, or Night Game. But some of these students I'm teaching have no SMV. They can't even do Tinder and get any matches or any dates. There's that low in SMV. But yeah, I've been through hell. Your testimonials really demolish everything. It's not even fair. There's 12 naturals, my Pakistani mentor. You should see his girlfriend. She looks almost like a CG character. She's so pretty, big eyes, blonde chick, Polish chick, big tits. Like, she's better looking than Andrew Tate's girlfriends, all of them, all the trafficking victims. Like, I was like, what the fuck? And she was at the mansion too. He showed me the pictures. That doesn't make any sense. That is the type of game I'm learning from, mentored from. So that is probably the best way to do it. Not tall self-proclaimed high lay count coaches. They can barely get 1 or 2 lay testimonials a year for Daygame. Out of all their students, out of all their popularity, where the fuck is it? The whole Daygame industry is like Asperger's. But yeah, I've been through too much hell and back. I'm broken, but I've been rebuilt to be like Moses of Daygame. That's who I am. The general, the Moses of Daygame. Let my people go for ABCs of attraction and all these other queefing canceled Casanova. Let my people go. Stop holding them hostage to muscle game and Asperger's and Latin shithole countries. Let my people go. So if the student wants to get laid, why don't they just use Tinder or Night Game instead? Okay, that's a great question. For some of my Asian and Indian students, Tinder is completely useless. They literally cannot even get a date. The algorithms favor the top 20 or 10% of men. And if you're not naturally high status or good looking, you're invisible. But these days they have AI and stuff for Tinder to even the odds, but even using good pictures taken with a photographer or AI. And as for nightclubs, it's even worse. Many of my students who are Asian washed or Indian washed, the women turns their back on them in less than 20 seconds. And they get constant mental trauma from the rejections. You can hear it in their voice. They get post-traumatic stress disorder. This is why Daygame is the solution. It works in sober, real-world environments. It gives consistent results without relying on looks or status. Hey, John, you are a tough coach. Why are you so tough on the students? Because discipline equals freedom. Students approaches Daygame like cooking a steak. They think they can just wing it and makes mistakes and then hope it turns out it's okay, burning a little bit less each time, these expensive Wagyu steaks. But my system is more like baking. It requires precision to raise your 2.5 points in social skills, for social calibrations and emotional control, especially if you're a minority. You can't afford to be imprecise. Every detail matters, and mistakes can cost you the results that you're working towards. So when somebody was asking you about, do you have to be so precise to get those 2.5 points extracted, you have to be precise. Because if you're imprecise, you might get 0.5 points. And when you have lower value, like me or my students, every single last precise points counts. You depend on it, you fight for it, just to have it in your neural pathways. This is why I emphasize extreme precision and discipline training to keep you on the line. If you're half-assed the stuff and you're delusional and you're unwilling to follow the process or the system, or you're quitting when it gets tough, you'll never cross the 20, 35 points threshold. My coaching isn't for zombies who think doing something half-assed once is enough. It's for students who are ready to practice every single movement, every single word, but the way you say it, and every behavior becomes second nature, like an algorithm, like you're training an army. Precision isn't an option. If you're not ready for that kind of level of commitment and you feel like you're a zombie, this program is not for you. But if you are, the student results will speak for themselves. Hey, John, I have a random game question for you. Okay, so for random game questions, book a strategy session with me or a consultation call, and I can find out what your issue is in 15 minutes, or I can answer your question for the strategy session. I may pitch my stuff to you afterwards. It's win-win that way. Does the system work forever, or do you have to continue to use drills forever, John? The system, it works even if you stop practicing, but like martial arts, skills need to be maintained, or at least you have the memory of it. Practicing drills ensure that you have a working memory, like a muscle memory. You stay sharp and you avoid falling into bad habits. This isn't about state pumping like RSD. It's about mastery. That's why you're stuck, because if you're lazy, it's like planting a seed. So when you're watering it on a daily basis, you're germinating it. Sometimes it takes a while, like a week or 2 or 3 to get the drills down. But eventually everyone sprouts off the ground at a different time. If you're very changeable, like some of the superstar students, the seed will sprout. So you will fail probably for the first 3 weeks. You feel like, why am I repeating myself? But when it sprouts and you start getting dates and you're pulling women home, then I teach you the aeroscience, and then you grow the big plant. Does that make sense? The big plant, your lay. But some people can grow like a small tree. You get many lays, or a bigger tree. But when they get narcissistic and they think they're a god, they don't need to practice the drills anymore. They stop watering the tree, although they'll get 3 more lays, exactly 3 more, due to the residual practice of the roots in the water. Then it'll dry up and they're stuck for 1.5 years. And they have to come back and say, I'm sorry, I messed up. Or else they'll end up with a girlfriend, like many other people, or get married. They just settle at that point when it rots. At the very best, they get 3 more. They feel like they're a god. They marry that 3rd lay, or they stay with the 3rd lay after that. It always happens. However, for non-stop lays, the plant grows into a small tree, which requires constant maintenance of watering it. In this case, the drills. This is why I have 661 latent pole testimonials for Daygame. This debunks the short-term intensity methods of mystery RSD methods, which doesn't work anymore. You need long-term consistency.